So to begin doing that color correction, I'm actually going to add an effect to my clip, to one of my clips here. And this is an effect that will help me get the kind of color correction that I want to have. To do that, I'm going to find that effect, and I'm going to go to this effects panel over here. It's on the left here. That's where I have it. If you don't have the effects panel open or you're not sure where to find it, you can go to Window and find Effects and make sure that that's open here. I'm going to find an effect that will allow me to adjust the colors. The name of the effect is called Lumetri Color. I'll spell it out for you. L-U-M-E-T-R-I, color. It's this effect right here. I can just drop it like a Lego block onto this first clip here, and now the effect is on my clip. But actually, I don't see any change. It hasn't changed anything yet. All this effect allows me to do is to access some tools to change the color on this clip. To find those tools, I need to go to Effect Controls. So click on the clip that you added the effect to, then go up here to Effect Controls at the top left. And if you don't see that, go to Window and then Effect Controls. Make sure you can see that there. This is where I can control this Lumetri Color effect. By default, every video clip in Premiere has these three effects by default: motion, opacity, and time remapping. This is the one that I just added called Lumetri Color. And if I want to see the options for how to use this effect, I'd click this little drop down right here, and this will show me some more options that I can do. Before I do that though, I kind of want to decide what are the colors, what are the tones that I want to have for this video. And so I'm going to look at my other sequences and see what I like best. I actually like the color and tone of this video the most. And so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to make my camera A look somewhat similar to my camera B. I'm going to do that for now. So let's try this again. So let's get started with that color. So let's get started with that color correction process. What I'm going to do in order to color correct is I'm going to add an effect to a clip in my sequence, to like this clip or this clip, and start. So let's get started with that color correction process. First thing I want to do is I want to look at each of my camera angles and decide which one has the best color, which one is the closest to what I want my final product to look like. This one looks a little bit too orange, doesn't look quite the way I want it to look. This one looks a little bit overblown and not quite what I want. So I'm going to say that camera B is the closest to what I want. But there are still some minor adjustments that I can make to it. What I need to do now is add an effect to this clip. Just like when you added crossfades and dissolves and things like that, I'm going to add an effect to this clip, and it's a clip that will allow me to make some really nice fine-tuning adjustments to get the tones on this exactly how I want them to be. So to do that, I'm going to go to my Effects tab here on the left. If you don't see this tab, go to Window and find Effects. Make sure it shows up there. And I'm going to search for an effect in this little search bar. And the name of the effect is called Lumetri Color, L-U-M-E-T-R-I, color. This is an effect that allows me to control a lot of things when it comes to the tones and colors in my video file. I can just click and drag this onto the video clip. Now, it doesn't change anything right now. It hasn't changed anything yet because I haven't messed with any of those Lumetri Color settings yet. To do that, I need to go to Effect Controls. So make sure that the clip that you added the effect to is highlighted. Then go up here to the top left to Effect Controls. If you don't see this Effect Controls panel, go to Window, find Effect Controls, make sure it has a checkbox. Now, by default, every video in Premiere has these three effects on it: motion, opacity, time remapping. Those are just default effects. This fourth one right here is called Lumetri Color. That's the one I just added. And to see all of the options for that, I click this little arrow and I can see a drop down. I'm going to make some basic changes to this video clip. Click on Basic Correction, and there's a lot of options here. I want to start down here a little bit with this one called Exposure. And to see more of that, click on this arrow, and I have a little wheel right here. I can make this darker or lighter. Now, I don't want to make it so bright that it looks way blown out. but I also don't want it to be too dark that it just looks, hard to look at. By the way, one really important thing to do before you do any of this color correction, turn the brightness on your computer screen all the way up. I want to repeat that again in case you missed it. Turn the brightness on your screen all the way to the maximum. On the Mac computers in the lab, the brightness controls are on the top left of the keyboard. You want to make sure to turn the brightness all the way up, because if your brightness is down, you might really turn up the brightness on this setting here because it seems too dark when really it's your computer screen. So turn the brightness to the maximum. And then I'm going to just brighten this image just a little bit, not too much. And then I'm also going to add some shadows. So this option right here for shadows, I'm going to make the shadows a little bit darker. I basically just added a little bit of contrast to this image. Not so much that it looks ridiculous, but just a little bit of contrast to make it pop a little bit more. Next, after I've done some of those, I can go to these options here, temperature and tint. This is where I can sort of mess with the colors a little bit. So if I move it to the left here, I make my colors a little bit cooler. And if I move it to the right, I make it a little bit warmer. I kind of like these cool colors, so I'm going to move it that way a bit. Tint allows you to kind of make it either more purple or more green. I think it looks fine just about in the middle, so I'm not going to mess with that too much. Now, if you want to see what it would look like if you were to turn this effect off, this Lumetri color effect off, you can go up here to the top right there it says FX. Click on that and you can kind of see a before and after. So that's after, or that's after, and that's before. So yeah, I like the way that looks. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do next is I'm going to try to make my camera A look like my camera B looks as much as I can. So now I need to go to camera A sequence, and I'm going to find my Lumetri color effect. It's already here. Just going to drag and drop it onto my clip. And again, right now it doesn't do anything. I need to go up to Effect Controls and do some basic corrections. So on this, I'm going to do some basic corrections. Again, I'm going to increase the exposure just a little bit, make it a little bit brighter. I think I might even go brighter than that. I'll make my shadows a little bit darker so I have a little bit of contrast. The main thing on this one is my temperature and my tint, though. My colors are very different on this than they were on camera B. This needs to be much cooler, so I'm going to move those colors much cooler and also maybe move this a little bit more this way. Just want to change that just so it looks closer to B. All right, so I'm looking at camera A, looking at camera B. They're not exactly right on, but they do look quite a bit closer. One thing I think that I can help with a little bit is maybe I'm going to turn down the saturation on this one a little bit. You never want to turn down the saturation too much. If you turned it down all the way, you would have black and white footage. But I'm going to just turn the saturation down a little bit. It feels a little bit less saturated than my camera B. That's starting to look like a bit closer of a match. You can mess with these settings, as long as you need to just get this footage to look close to your whatever one you think looks the best. They don't have to be exactly spot on, but you should try to get them close. I'll do the same thing with camera C. Let's give this a try. Camera C, I'm going to add this Lumetri color effect here. I'm going to, this one, it's a little bit too bright, so I'm actually going to turn the exposure down a little bit. I could turn my highlights down. I'm going to do that as well. And again, my temperature is very kind of purple, so I'm going to add some green and turn down the tint a little bit. See how that looks. Kind of just messing around here to make sure that I can get this right. And I definitely want to turn down the shadows a bit to get a little more contrast. Again, it's okay if it's not perfect right now, but I'm just trying to get something that looks a little bit closer to my other camera angles. Yeah, this one's got these kind of blown out highlights here. It's just a little bit overexposed. So I'm going to turn my highlights down just a little bit more so it's not quite so bright on her face there. Okay, so I've added those effects, but I'm not totally done yet. What I've done here is, let's go back to camera A. I've added the effect to this part of camera A, and you can tell because it's got this little purple icon right there, but the effect is not on this part yet, right? I haven't added it to this part, and I haven't added to this part. It's only added it to this one file where I added the effect. The nice thing is it's really easy to copy one effect from one clip to another clip. So I'm going to copy the effect that's on this clip onto this clip here. To do that, I'm going to click on the clip, right-click on it, and just choose Copy. Then I'm going to move my playhead over to the next clip, make sure to click on it to highlight it. Then I'm going to right click and choose Paste Attributes. And this is where I can paste any sort of effects that I've had in the other one to this one. I didn't do anything with motion, so I can just go ahead and click that. The only effect that I added was Lumetri Color. I'll make sure that that's pasted in there, then hit OK. And I've now added that effect to this clip. I'll do the same thing with this one. Paste Attributes, hit OK. Paste Attributes on this one, and hit OK. Okay, I've got to do the same thing with camera B and camera C, but I've got to make sure this effect, the effect that's on camera B, is different than the effect I did on camera A, right? I mean, I used the same Lumetri Color, but I did different things with that Lumetri Color effect. So for camera B, I need to copy my Lumetri Color from this one and then add it to the second part of the clip here. Paste Attributes, and that's good. And then same thing with camera C here. I need to copy this and get it on this second clip here. And so that's some basic color correction. I've color corrected everything here. This will take you a little bit more time than it took me. I just went through it pretty quickly. Again, it doesn't have to be a perfect match. We just want to get the colors closer than maybe they were in the camera. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to make kind of one main sequence. Right now I've got different sequences for each camera angle, but this is actually not the thing that I'm going to do my editing on. I'm going to do my editing using an editing mode called multi-camera editing. To do that, I need to sandwich these three sequences together, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do next. So go to your project panel here on the lower left, and then open up your sequences folder, and you'll see your three sequences here. You can open up these, but you can actually, over in your timeline, you can go ahead and close these once you're done. You can click on the little X there. You can close these once you're done doing your color correcting. You don't need to see those right now. But I've got my camera A, camera B, and camera C sequences. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sandwich these together. First, before I do that, I need to determine which camera angle had the good quality audio. When you recorded your multi-camera interview, one of your cameras, probably the 4K camera, had some microphones plugged into it to get really good quality audio. The other cameras were just using the internal microphones on the cameras, which aren't very good. I want to make sure that my multi-camera sequence is using the best quality audio, so I need to make sure I know which camera angle has the good quality audio. So let's see camera B here. I can double click on camera B and I can just play it.
That period of time.
Absolutely. I mean, you had all of the...
Okay, I can tell that that's not very good quality audio. What about camera A?
Not able to happen in a pandemic kind of world.
Yes, that's the good quality audio. So I know that camera A is my one that has the good quality audio. I need to know that because what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all three of these sequences and then use a right click to combine them all. But it's really important which one I click first. The one that I click first is the one that Premiere is going to use to sync the audio with. So click on camera A first, just single click on it to highlight it. Then hold down the command key on your keyboard, and then you can highlight the other two. So make sure that you highlight the main one with the good audio first, then your other two or your other one if you just have two camera angles total. Then right click, and I'm going to choose this option right here, Create Multi-Camera Source Sequence. This is going to create what's called a source sequence. It's kind of the next step in making our multi-camera sequence. Go ahead and give this a name. It might have a default name here. Go ahead and give it a custom name and just call it MCI source or multi-camera source if you want to. Then in these options here, there's a bunch of different ways it's going to synchronize the clips. Choose this one here for audio, and then track channel 1 is fine. It also might have this box checked, move source clips into process clip bin. Go ahead and uncheck that. We've already organized things, we don't need that, so uncheck that box. And then for audio channels preset, make sure to choose mono for this one. Then just hit OK. It might take a minute, but what it's going to do is it's going to synchronize all three of these camera angles into one sequence. Now in my sequences folder, I've got another new thing here. It's called MCI source right now. Now I can't actually edit this. It's a different kind of sequence. It's called a source sequence. I can't edit it. So to be able to edit it, I need to right click on it and choose new sequence from clip. And now it's made an actual sequence that I can edit. But let's rename it. It's called MCI source. Let's go ahead and rename it and call this one multi-camera interview your name, because this is the main sequence that you're gonna use to do all your editing. Now right now I can't see all the camera angles, but I can only see camera A, and I can also tell that it's got good quality audio. However, there is one thing that you won't notice unless you've got headphones plugged in. If I play my audio right now, it's only playing out of one ear. It's only playing out of one speaker, out of one headphone. Now, one way you can actually tell it is you can actually look at these audio meters right here. This one on the left is moving, but this one on the right isn't moving. We need to fix this. This is just a quick issue to fix. We need to make sure that the audio is playing out of both ears and not just out of one ear. Also, really important to wear headphones while you're editing so that you can catch this kind of thing. To fix this issue, I'm just going to click on my sequence, on my clip here. Then I'm going to, so it's highlighted, then I'm going to go to my effect controls. And I've got a couple audio effects here on here. And these are just default audio effects. The one that I want is this one called the panner. This panner tool I'm going to use. Here's what I'm going to do. Click on this little stopwatch so that it's gray, so it's not blue anymore. And then right here where it says -100, just punch in the number 0 and enter. Same thing for audio 2. Find the panner, click on that stopwatch so it's gray, click on that 100, type in 0, and now my audio is playing out of both sides.
Contrast between.
Now, one other thing that I want to do before I go away from this, my interview subject was great and her audio was very clear, but the microphone was turned up a little bit too high, and you can tell because we're getting some peaking here. This will start to get distorted as we go. I need to turn down the overall audio levels on this, and again, I can do that in these audio effects here. This one here where it says volume, I'm going to find this one here, it says level. I'm going to click on this stopwatch again to make it gray, and then I can use this little drop down. I'm going to turn this down. Now this depends on your clip. On this one, it's loud. It's because the microphone was turned up. I'm going to turn it down to about -3 or so. I'll do the same thing on audio 2. Same thing, audio 2. The place that I want to get the audio, the level I want to get the audio to, is so it's kind of hanging out in this yellow area and never really gets close to peaking. I might even turn it down a little bit more. I might turn it down to like -5 or something like that. Get it close so that I'm never really worried about her going over her peaking. See there, it just peaked a little bit. So it means I still need to turn down even more. I might turn it down like -7 or 8 or something like that. If you went all the way down to -infinity, then it would be completely muted. Maybe I'll just go to -10 and see how that goes. I think that's pretty safe, so I'm just going to keep it there. I think that's a safe volume level. So again, it'll depend on your clip. It'll depend on how loud your microphone was set, and you can make those changes how you need to. But I've just done some quick changes to my audio here. I know my audio is clear, and I know that all my camera angles are sandwiched together. Now, I can't see all my camera angles yet. In the next video, I will show you how to see those camera angles and how to do some multi-camera editing. But I'll save that for the next video.